Today and tonight are going to help define Australia's future. And that's because there are two important political events taking place in America. Now, the first, as you've heard earlier, is the Georgia Senate runoff election, where there are two Senate seats up for grabs. At the moment, it looks like the Democrats are guaranteed one. But if the Democrats happen to win both of these, the US Senate will stand deadlocked at 50 seats for each of the major parties. Now, in any tied ballot, if it's 50-50, that's going to leave the Vice President with the casting vote. And now, the next important event takes place later tonight. And that's when the Electoral College votes from the November 3rd election are going to be counted, and the next President of the United States is officially chosen. Now, I know that there are all sorts of stories floating around about how the process works and what could happen and what happens when competing sets of electoral votes are presented to the chamber. Now, frankly, I'm not sure how much stock we can put in most of the information that's floating around on the internet, but for my money, it's almost a certainty that the Biden-Harris ticket will be endorsed tomorrow. Now, I don't want that to be the case. I really don't think it should be the case, but it is certainly the most likely outcome. So, why are these two American things important for Australia? Well, firstly, America is our greatest ally, and it is the only country with enough might to support us in our stand against the Chinese communists. Now, under President Trump, we knew exactly where we stood because he refused to be an apologist for the rogue nation. Nobody did more to expose the Chinese duplicity and dishonesty than President Trump. It is a wonderful legacy for him. Joe Biden, on the other hand, has been closely linked to a cascade of Communist Party cash, mostly through his son's Cash for Access business. Now, it remains to be seen if he readopts the Obama administration policy of appeasement or he actually decides to put America's interests first. But the second area of interest tomorrow is that the radical ideas of likely Vice President Kamala Harris could be decisive in the future of America, because it's no secret that her voting record means she is considered the most left-leaning of all US senators. Harris, as you may know, is one of the architects of the Green New Deal, and she also has this history of, how shall I put it, embellishing the truth. Just yesterday it was revealed her childhood tales were actually adopted from the anecdotes of Martin Luther King. Adopted is a very polite term. Untroubled by truth, Harris will wield enormous power in the frail Biden's presidency. And if the Democrats have an equal number in the Senate, she will also have the decisive vote there. In that event, every radical plan the Democrats put forward has a chance of passing both houses and then becoming law. That may mean massive increases in taxes. It could diminish and decrease border protection. It could result in the mass release of criminals from jails, radical immigration reform, much greater bureaucracy, and much, much bigger and more intrusive government. America's influence on the world then would no longer be measured by military strength or innovation or by Lady Liberty. Instead, it would be relegated to becoming the high priestess of wokeness, and Australia could find it very hard to resist following in her footsteps.